My name is David Bryson. I am with Team Elevate Worldwide, powered by eXp Realty. I am thrilled to be doing a model explained of eXp Australia. I have with me the one, the only Emily Morgan, who is the country lead for Australia. Emily, thanks for being with me.
Thank you so much for having me, David. As always, I'm sure it's going to be awesome.
That it is, and I'm so excited. So over the months that I've come to know Emily, she's not only my partner in eXp, but she's also become a friend. So it's an honor to have her on. So Emily, let's talk about eXp Australia. And I think you said one of the big differences is that with all their brokerages, people don't own their relationships. So could you talk about that and how that's different with eXp?
This is a major that I think a lot of people in Australia in particular, but maybe even around the globe, do not understand. And it's a huge difference with eXp. So when you're at and I'll say traditional office, right. Most other offices, you will actually not own your database. Now that means that every phone call you make, every SMS you send, every email trail, every letterbox you drop, every listing appraisal you go to, every property you sell, whether it's 2 years, 12 years, or 20 years, you don't own that. So at any point in time that you decide to unpartner outside of that partnership that you're in, you lose everything that you've worked towards. Not only do you lose everything, but it can actually get so much worse than that, David. I see people here in Australia all the time that do have a restraint of trade in their contracts. And unfortunately, it will often go to court. And because it is very clear cut in those contracts, the agent who should own that particular relationship that they've created is the one that ends up paying out of pocket when it does get to court. So that's a major for eXp. Yeah. You own it. It's yours. Everything that you're doing, working towards on a daily basis is yours. It's absolutely yours. And it's also risk-free. So at any point, if you just, I don't know why you would, but if you ever decide to unpartner with eXp, they'll download your database. They'll send it through to you. They'll delete it from their system. They'll sign a letter for the major portal saying that they're happy for you to take your sold properties across to wherever it is that you're going. No one else will do that. No one.
Wow. I mean, and that's the huge thing, Emily, because as we all know, the real estate business is a relationship business, and relationship is sort of my equity or my capital. That's sort of all I have is, my brand. So if I don't even own the relationships that I've spent years building, that's harsh.
Absolutely. And one thing this is a mic drop. We just had somebody join us at eXp, and she was petrified of leaving everything behind. And my one question that I had for her, David, was, I get that, but do you want to work another 5 years and add another however many thousand people to that database for somebody else, or do you want to start today for yourself?
Yeah, no, well said, Emily. And one of the other things that I love about eXp is I still have like a huge brand behind me, but I get to be my own brand.
I love that. I was actually at an appraisal just last night. Now, this is funny. I was selling a property, already had an offer on. I was just doing another open to make sure, The neighbour comes across, wants me to appraise his home. And he said, I've never heard of your brand because it's still relatively new here in Australia, not like in the US.
Right.
And he said, who are they? And really for me, the easiest way to explain it is, I've been in real estate for 15 years. I didn't enjoy working for the major franchises. I like to work independently and for myself, and I can because I'm fully licensed. However, I have a major global backup service centre with nearly 70,000 agents.
No.
In 18 different countries.
Yeah, no, very well said. So let's talk about what does it take to become an eXp agent in Australia? Do I have to have been an agent for a certain number of years, or what's sort of the criteria I need to become part of eXp?
In short, Yes.
Okay.
Now, we do see a lot of people throughout Australia that will be newer agents and they will not have their full license, okay? We cannot necessarily take on new agents to eXp in Australia. They need to have had good sort of 12 months experience. It'll take a little bit less for the right person, of course. But we need to make sure that they're going to not only meet that criteria, but be successful as well within their own right. And that's pretty important for us. So you would need to do one of two things. To be an independent contractor, you would need to have your own full license. And obviously you would need to have either formed a company, have an ABN, that just goes without saying. You need to carry your own insurances, of which are along, we're actually higher originally, they're along the state legislation now. So it's a lot easier and more cost effective for the agents. Also, you can become a commission-only agent. Now, that would mean that you would need to prove that over the last 3 years, inside of a 12-month time frame over that 36-month period, you have earned $60,000 or more in your own sales commissions, right? That is a Fair Work Australia ruling, okay? Those who are new to real estate, it's actually illegal to employ people that don't meet that criteria without paying them a retainer in Australia.
Okay.
So that's what you would need to do. One of those two things: full license or meet that criteria for the 60K over the last 36 months.
Okay, perfect. Those are great things to know. So let's back it up for a second and let's sort of go into the history of eXp. If you would sort of fill us in on Glenn Sanford, the founder, and why he started eXp in the first place.
Well, I'm sure people like you and I have thought along the same lines for years and years. We've just probably not done anything about it, and bless Glenn for doing so. He was just like everybody else, but doing a phenomenal amount of sales. And what he found was, why am I paying somebody else so much money when I'm actually the person that's doing it? I don't need all of this. I just need some of this. And I can do a lot of this online. So he founded in 2009 eXp. I'm so glad that he did, because finally it's about the agents, for the agents. It's agent owned, it's agent grown. It absolutely blows my mind. I've waited for something like this for 15 years.
And, you know, that's the thing, Emily, when I talk to other agents, I think sometimes people have a hard time wrapping their heads around that there is no franchise for them to buy into or be a part of. And that's sort of what we were talking about a little off mic. It's like, you know, sort of like your brand, your freedom. And it's a hard thing to sort of wrap your head around at the beginning.
They almost don't believe it.
Right.
And I have had multiple people say, nah, too good to be true. Something has to be wrong. Guess what? There isn't. I too looked for it. I looked for it. There isn't anything. There isn't anything at all. It's just, hey, you're an awesome agent. You want to do your own thing. You want to own your own thing. We can allow you to have your cake, eat it too, and then even have the cherry on the top as well.
That's right. And I don't think people get how horizontal eXp is, Emily, is that you and I, we're sort of on the same playing field, literally, is that we're both trying to help other people with what we think is a great opportunity.
I get up out of bed every single day to make a difference in other people's lives, okay?
Yep.
But I think that that's one of the vital things about eXp as well that I have liked. Being from traditional real estate, you will often see in different offices, you know, there's special people and they always get the leads from the director and they always get the pat on the back and they always get the awards and they always get the referrals. And People may not know, but they often get more commission than the others as well. And there is none of that at eXp.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the same playing field. You're over in the US. I'm over in Australia. We get the same. There are no special deals.
That's right.
Doesn't matter whether you sell 100 homes or one home. No special deals. You're all treated equally.
Yeah, no, well said. So the big question then is, we're talking about money, is, so I'm a qualified agent to join eXp in Australia. What are the commission splits?
Oh, all right. So you'll get 75% to the agent on the first 100K of GCI that you write in a calendar year. We have a capped model. And this is one thing that people don't necessarily understand, because it's not really a thing in Australia. It is over in the US, so more people will get it.
Yeah.
But here in Oz, it's normal for you to keep paying that whole year. There's no cap. So every time you transact, you're still paying a certain figure out through your office, right? But here, once you cap and you bring in your first 100K of GCI for your calendar year, you then cap and keep 100% of your commission for the remainder of your calendar year.
Wow.
That is well, because nobody else is going to do that. Even those that have high percentage rates in Australia, they still will never give you, shares within the company. We'll talk about that soon. And they will absolutely never give you 100%. Why? Because they always do want you to keep paying. I get it. They have to keep the doors open. We just are a little bit different in what we do. And I love the fact that if I write 500K, I'm still only paying eXp 25. If I write $1 million, I'm still only paying eXp 25 within 1 year only.
Yeah, and you hit on something we didn't touch on too much before, is that, when you were talking about Glenn, is that we're a virtual cloud-based company. So when you talk about these other agencies that have doors to keep open, we really don't. We're not paying rent in Australia or the US. If you're an agent and you choose to have your own office, that's your own choice. But eXp is not requiring you to, nor do we have any.
Correct. And I actually, that's a major for me. And it has been for the last sort of 5-6 years of my real estate. I made a real conscious decision not to go back into an office. I didn't love the politics and the different personalities. I found I wasted a lot of time just chatting to people, whereas I love the fact that if I waste time at home now, it's chatting to my family.
Right.
Chatting to my husband, spending time with my kids. I get to choose who that time is with now, and I love that. And I love working from home. And I think the major here is that nobody believed me on that, David, up until the last 2 years. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, yeah, you're so right.
Right.
I can't work from home because I was forced to.
Completely agreed. So we'll back to money for a moment. So you mentioned, the great thing, after $100,000, you're keeping all the money. You mentioned stock. So let's talk about stock, and then let's talk about another thing that eXp agents can participate in called revenue share, because I think a lot of agents, they've built teams at other companies. And the sad thing is, when the person you've poured your love, heart, soul, and training into, when they depart for another agency, you're like, man, what do I got? So talk about stock and then talk about rev share.
Stock's going to be a really simple one. I'll keep this super simple. You can put 5% of everything that you write into shares, and they will sit in your lovely little pocket of shares on the back end of your phone and your app there. You will also get gifted a number of shares. I've never brought a single share in eXp yet, but my portfolio is looking rather healthy. Why? Because I help other people by giving them this gift. And when I'm gifted for giving this gift, it's so amazing. Yep. And nobody else is ever going to give you shares in their baby.
Yeah, that's right.
That they've raised from the ground. And the thing that I like here is that every single agent that is involved with eXp is a business owner with you. You, me, Joe down the road, Michael up the street, they're all owners.
Yeah.
It's agent owned, agent growing. I love that. I love that. That's phenomenal. Now, revenue share is hands down for me one of the major reasons that I joined eXp. There are heaps of reasons, but this was a big allure for me. Why? Because you will go and open up an office, right? That will, and I've always wanted to do this, that will cost you $500,000 for the fit out and getting all set up and getting the right paperwork and logos done. And before you even kick into marketing, it'll cost you $500K. Then on top of all of that, you've got huge overheads, you've got stress of staff, you've got trust accounts to run, all of that good stuff. That is not something that I ever really wanted to do. It didn't sound like me, albeit that I wanted to help other agents and I wanted to help them grow as well. And I have done that in the past, but it needed to look a little bit different, and it does here at eXp. But I can now grow a team. It doesn't cost me anything. And all I'm doing is sharing this gift with people. Now, here's the major thing. They don't need to join my team. These people can go off and they can start and they can have their own brand, their own business. And I'm here to help them. I'm here to support them. I'm here to guide them. And that is a major responsibility that I really want to reiterate. Don't take on people and build a team if you're not willing to help them. Please don't. Correct. That's awful. But you will be rewarded for helping them, for sharing that gift. And they don't need to leave and go down the road because they already have their own brand and their own business. Whether they've joined your team direct or whether they've just joined eXp and done their own brand, you will still be rewarded. And I love that. And my revenue share is quite healthy. And I won't need to sell properties in the next 5 years.
Yeah, well said.
Put it that way. And there are a lot of people out there that are still going to be selling properties when they're 80. And that makes me sad.
No, it does. I completely agree. eXp, I think you call it a gift. And I mean, I see it as, a gift as well, but it's giving people options to help them financially. And I mean, we all know a lot of real estate agents, but sometimes they're not the financially responsible people. You get a commission check in your hand like, woohoo, I want a new Mercedes or I want this or that. And it's gone and they don't set anything aside, but you can make more money with eXp just by having some stock invested or bought for you. And if you bring on other people, you're getting that revenue share like you talked about.
I need to sell a lot less there to make the same amount of money, which is cool.
Yeah, no, well said. So let's talk about the education and training, because I think sometimes when people, are scared to leave another brokerage, they're like, how much training am I going to get? And you mentioned, hey, I have my brand, my freedom, but does that mean I'm sort of going to be a lone wolf, or am I still going to be part of a bigger team?
And that looks different for everybody, because we must understand that it needs to be quite customizable, because what I want and what you want might be two different things.
Correct.
And I think it's pretty important to respect that on an individual basis. I might just need you to pick up the phone. I might just call you once a week, as somebody that you've introduced. But I also might need a lot more help than that as well. So I think, it's important to customize that for each individual person. We have a number of different ways that you get help here at eXp. So obviously to come into eXp, you'll need to come in with a sponsor. That person is going to be the person that helps you through a lot of your stuff, that helps you with that day-to-day stuff sometimes that you go, I'm having this trouble with this or this trouble with this. On top of that, we have weekly training sessions as well with our icon agents. So our icon agents are people who have written so much business that they're basically getting the eXp for free. Put it that way. They are. That's what an icon is. So they will do an icon training every single week, which we record. And so we actually now have multitudes of recordings from phenomenal icon agents that is in our agent hub that anybody has access to that comes into eXp. You can access that at your own time as well, which is super cool. On top of that, you will have a weekly meeting per state, so with your licensee. Again, it's just another level of support for you. And then on top of that, that licensee is there for you for a lot of the stuff that you might need, from compliance stuff, just vendor stuff, buyer stuff. And then, of course, we have an entire corporate team on top of that to help you with all the ins and outs. So not only do you get training and support, but it's going to go ahead and say it, better than being in an office.
Yeah, it really is. And even like if someone came on with like Team Elevate, we have so much training even outside of eXp world, so many sales, accountability calls that people can be a part of, that depending on sort of what eXp family you come into, you can do more training than selling if you wanted to. So it's I find it's a great culture to learn, to share, and to help others. So yeah, there's a lot of training if people are worried about that.
There's heaps. There's an abundance. I haven't even gone into eXp University because I don't want to overload people. But,
right.
It's all there.
So let's talk about, so if I sign up for eXp, am I getting a CRM when I sign up with eXp Australia? Touch on that for a moment.
Yeah, so there are only 3 fees with eXp Australia. $199 plus just to start, $199 plus just per month, and $250 plus just when you transact. All right. Now, the $199 per month is going to give you access to absolutely everything that you need in order to write real estate business. Anything else that you need on top of that, we probably already have in terms of a partnership. You just need to say, I need this. Fantastic. We've got someone for that. So that's the cool thing. You've got your agent box CRM system, which is number 1 throughout Australia. 70% top 100 agents use it, and some of the best and well-known coaches across Australia tell us to use it because they think it's a really good system to use. You'll get all of your electronic forms. You'll get access to do all of your research through Data, Core Logic, all of that stuff. All your trust accounts are done, all of that. If you need extras, add-ons for like lead generation or social media or whatever else it is, we've probably already got the partnership.
So we've touched on a lot in our time together, Emily. I think our goal was not to be the exhaustive, definition of what eXp is and what it can offer you, but just to sort of give you a teaser or an intro. Is there anything we didn't touch on that is maybe eXp Australia specific that you would like to mention?
Oh, there's probably a number of different things, but rather than that, if I can, what I would like to do is just reiterate what we have discussed here, because I'm now remembering back to the first point going, you own your database at eXp. You own your sold properties at eXp. You get 75% on the first 100. We are a capped model, so you only ever pay the 25 to eXp. You have all these other major streams of income, from revenue share to shares in the company. You need to probably list, I don't list even half as much as what I used to now. Right. You get all this freedom. You can work from home and choose how you spend your day. You don't have anyone breathing down the back of your neck. It is absolutely your choice. You can have your own brand, your own business. You heard us say that the icon agents are almost getting eXp for free. Ask us how. This is mind-blowing. Honestly, even if you don't think you want to change brokers or agencies, you need to at least have a conversation.
Yeah.
I promise. Because once you see it, you won't stop thinking about it. You can't unsee it.
Completely. You can't unring the bell. And I think the other thing, and we'll finish on this, Emily, is that ESPN, the sports network, eXp, has become sort of a family for me. Just the people that I
Yes.
interact with, that I see on Zoom calls like you, Emily, it's like I consider you a friend. We've never met. We might not meet anytime in the very short term, but just having people you can call, bounce things off that are on your team and that you want to succeed. I find the people of eXp literally one of the most amazing things.
Agree. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Hands down, some of the best culture I have ever seen in 15 years of real estate.
Yeah.
Mic drop. That's saying something. And I've worked at a lot of different well-known offices, and everybody knows that there's a lot of stuff that goes on in real estate. None of it happens here. So amazing. I love being here.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that as well. And so she is Emily Morgan. She is the country lead for Australia. If you have any questions, you can reach out to her. I am David Bryson. I am based out of Phoenix, Arizona. I am with Team Elevate Worldwide. We're growing an international team. So please reach out to either one of us, and we would be happy to talk eXp with you. So thank you so much, Emily, for sharing all of eXp Australia. And thank you for all the time, effort, and love that you put into it.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. Talk to you soon.